Hello again, welcome back to JDM Escape, or welcome if it's your first time here, make sure you subscribe. Right, today we're back onto this, which is my daily driver. Obviously, if you looked at the last video, should I say, on this car, you'll know that it failed its MOT, you'll know what it failed on, and if you don't, you've missed it, you need to go back and watch the other one first for this one. However, if you're here and you just want to see this, this is where we're at. So, I've got to take off the complete exhaust system off it, everything after the engine, literally manifold and everything. Manifold's got a leak on it. I've got a new sports cap to go on it, and I've got a new exhaust system for it. Rear subframe's got to come off because that is ruined. I've got a new one with polyurethane bushes to show you, and that's got to go on. Obviously, to do that, rear diff's got to come out, rear axle's got to come apart, both hubs off, both wheels off, suspension undone. Yeah, there's a lot to do, if we're honest, and then a few other little bits and pieces like wipers and drop links and a few other things. But that's where we need to start. We need to start with the big stuff. So I'm going to get the car up, I'm going to drop the full exhaust off it and kind of go from there. You can hear the exhaust blowing. I mean it sounds like crazy as it is. So that's, as I said, but the thing is, I'll need the exhaust off to get the rear axle off anyway, so it's kind of like, it makes no difference. I might as well just do it. But yeah, let's get to it. So this is what it currently looks like under here. We've got, if you've seen this car before on this channel, you'll know that it is a non-turbo at the moment. You'll also know that we've got big plans for it, including a full turbo conversion in the new year. But today, where we're going to start is we're going to take all this off right from the engine, full length of the car, drop all that onto the floor, remove that, and if I take it around the back, I can show you what we need off. Quite a lot, to be honest. So rear diff's got to come off, which goes between that frame and this one. And if I do that, I can see a lot better. Obviously, wheels, axle, calipers will stay with the car up there. The struts will stay with the car up there because it's the easiest way to do it. Handbrake cables will have to come out at the front. Prop will have to come off the front of the diff, obviously, to get that down. And then there's all this kind of stuff to strip off because we need this out. And the reason we need this out, as again I said before, is because where the yellow chalk is there is where the corrosion is. So we need to do that. Up to now I'm planning on reusing these bolts, but you know, we'll see how that goes. And again, yellow chalk there because that's an MOT failure. I think it's on the one side. So yeah, there's a lot to do, a lot to take off. And as I said, while I'm in here, I will also be removing this whole exhaust system permanently and putting the stainless one on that I'll show you very shortly. Yeah, there's a lot to do, if we're honest. Right, and there we go. That's a full exhaust off everything. Manifold, cats, full system, everything. So that's a heck of a lot different to what we're going to be putting on. Now I believe it's got a couple of rust issues. So basically, from this point forward, everything after this join, everything there, all of that will be gone. We don't need any of that anymore. We're just keeping this and the new stuff. And I believe the blow on the exhaust is in there, so I'm going to take off the heat wrap, which is awful on your hands. But there should be a crack, I think, in there, I would assume. So I'm going to dig in there and find out. Okay, bad news. Truth is, it's a lot worse than I thought. I've just cleaned it up with the grinder, but there is actually a full crack that runs into there. Crack along there, crack along there. So that's a lot worse than I thought. And what causes it is this heat wrap stuff. Once water sets in it, it just stays there basically and just eats away at it. Holds all the water in, takes all the metal away. So I'm gonna have a look at that, see if we can get welded up, and then I'll probably end up painting it. Instead of rewrapping it, I'll probably end up just painting it and heat proofing it and doing it that way instead. Let's see what we can do with the welder. Okay, so this is where we're at. So, last night, the end of the last clip you saw, hang on, started welding up all these little cracks. There was actually quite a few under there, and that bit was nigh on nothing left. So, started putting a new piece onto that. However, welder ran out of gas, so that's kind of called time on that for now. And I think it's going to be probably more like after Christmas that I get any kind of gas, because it's now 23rd December and it's Christmas Eve, as they call it. So, yeah. So I thought I'd cheer myself up. Oh, and my grinder died as well, so like everything's going down. I was cleaning that up to weld it, grinder started sparking, so that was the end of that, so I had to pick up a new grinder this morning. So this is why you didn't get any more from yesterday, and I left it and came back to it today. Right, good news. I've got all the exhaust system in, and I'll show you, so I can show you kind of what's going on. For those that are wondering why I'm actually doing the setup on it as a non-turbo when I'm going to convert it back to being a turbo, it's time. I haven't got the time to do the full turbo setup in it right now, so I can just need the car back on the road so I can use it and so it can be a car, quite frankly. So whether it's turbo or non-turbo don't make a damn bit of difference. Where's this little thing on? There it is. So the thing is, this is what I'm using, and I think I'm going to end up having to make like an adapter for this because I don't think it'll be straight fit. So this is the brand new sports cap for it. I've just opened that fresh out of the packet. Used exhaust system. Now this is 3-inch, so this is not ideal for the non-turbo, but it will be future-proof when it becomes a turbo. And another subframe there that I've got second-hand. Hopefully going to clean that up, put all the new bushes in it, and repaint it before it goes on. And because what you'll notice on this, normally the cat is here, but obviously it's down there on this one. So the second lambda should be after the cat, but because it's not, I'm going to use this to space it out. And what I was going to do is, because instead of being, oh, it might be broken. That is broken. That's no good. Anyway, my idea was, before this, to put that in there, which will move the position of the lambda sensor. Instead of sucking it straight out with the main stream down there, it gets a smaller flow and the lambda sensor sits there. That way, it should prevent any kind of like errors on the dashboard and issues. So that's my plan. But looking at that one's broken anyway, so I'm going to have to speak to them about that because that's no good. So the light will still be on. But, other things. Before the subframe goes on, I want to do the bushes on it. I want to put poly bushes on it. And these ones that I always use are from Flowflex. And these are on my classic that's over there. So we've got all the 8 track control arm bushes, the one where it's cut off there. One that spiral out of there. And those 4 there are for these ones here. So it'll have all poly bushes in there now. It'll be way better. So that's where that is. And what is it? Pair of wipers there are obviously MOT issues and bolts and gaskets that came with that exhaust. So next thing's next, really. I need to set up a new grinder, clean that whole subframe off, get the whole rear end off the car, new poly bushes in that, and then I can sort of measure it all up. I might measure up the exhaust, the new setup, next to the old setup, because sometimes, I forget which way around this is, on classics and new ages, one of them's longer, and it's not straight swap, it's not straightforward fit. So there's a chance, obviously I've got a difference in diameter anyway. One's I think 2.5 inches and one's 3 inch. So I've got that issue to deal with, and there is also the issue, as I said, with length. So I might have to do that. But either way, that is going to look nicer and sound nicer than any of that, and that's all just scrap now, basically. I'm not going to use that again. There we go. So that's the 2 laid out on the floor together. Now they aren't far off, they aren't far apart, but there's 2 things to note. One, you see the angles of the 2 flanges there. I mean, they're all laid on the floor, don't get me wrong, so it's not perfect, but I think there'll be an angle issue there. I don't think that'll mate up because the pipes are not quite straight, and obviously different diameter as well. That might be 2.25 instead of 2.5, looking at that. But anyway, the bonus of that is as I suspected, it's slightly shorter, so I'm probably going to have a minimum of about 4 inch. Obviously all the hangers along the back end will locate it on the car. So in this gap there, I can make a piece that goes from that pipe size to that pipe size and adds in the right length. But obviously that'll happen once all the system's back on the car and subframe and everything's done. But I prefer that one. By a country mile I prefer that. I might just metal polish it before it goes on. That's way better. Right, strip down the back end. Okay, so I've started giving the whole thing a run over with the wire wheel and the grinder. And taking out these bushes is A little bit tricky, to be fair. So first things first, if you come to do this, they are a pain and they are going to test you. The easiest way to do it is to knock the centres out first, all the rubber bit, and the little metal insert that goes in there. They've gone. And then you'll be left with this, which is what's in this one, and not in this one. So the best way to do this is to run a hacksaw through it first. So you want the hacksaw blade through there, that's all I've used. Open your hacksaw up, run it down there, slit it just on one edge, any edge where you can get to. And once you've got a slit, you'll feel the difference because that's a lot softer. So once you've gone far enough, keep an eye on it and don't cut too much into that. If you get it a little bit like I have there, it won't matter loads, but try not to. So what you want to do is slit through the side of there, so which is what I'll do with this one, and then a slit across the top, and then just sort of get a chisel and sort of fold it in on itself like that, and then it'll fall straight out. Like I said, these are a massive pain to do 9 times out of 10, so that's the easiest way I've ever found doing it. And then when we come to put the poly bush in, that'll simply sit straight in, a little bit of lubricant, and she'll go straight back hopefully. There's 2 prize draws at the moment. One of them is the Auto Glim cleaning kit. If you haven't seen that, go back and watch the other videos. That's free to enter, completely free. You don't have to do anything, you just have to follow the instructions in that video, which will tell you how to do it. And also we are offering you a chance to win the Mitsubishi FTO. Okay, so this is where we're at. Axle's out. Entire rear subframe does not look good whatsoever. I'm not surprised that it's rotten. Obviously with all this sat on top of it, doesn't help. There you go, that's that out. So the underside of the car looks like that. Obviously still got the fuel tank in it at the moment. I might, to be fair, while I'm here, drop that out and just completely underseal the rear end, just run the grinder over it, knock all the surface rust off, treat it and underseal it, because then it's done. It's not like this car's going anywhere, it's mine, isn't it? So maybe worthwhile. And if I had parked the car about an inch or 2 further back, I'd have been able to get that bolt out as well, which would have made life easier, because I had a bit of a juggle with the diff mounting. But anyway, it's out, and that's all good. I can nearly get to that bolt as well. It's really frustrating. I might try that one. Yep, so that's where we are, and I'll show you this. So as I said, I got all the bushes out the subframe, did the last one, and given it, the reason it looks kind of blue, I gave it a run over with the rust treatment just for peace of mind. This is how I always do it. I always give them a quick rust treatment before it gets painted. So it will then get primed and painted once all that's sorted. This looks really weird now. That's really strange. Best way to do this, as I think I said before, just leave the calipers up there. Handbrake cable's off, so all the seats and carpet are out of it. ABS plug is under the back seat too. If you come to do this, it's not stupidly difficult, to be fair. It's quite straightforward. You just have to be methodical with it. I left these entire arms on and just unbolted it from the chassis because it's got cleaner bolts. This whole thing now will be stripped down, ready to be reassembled on the new frame. And if you do come to do this and you're doing it on the floor, make sure you have a jack under there. Don't try and catch this thing, because that on its own doesn't weigh a lot, but that compiled with all of that weighs quite a bit. So don't try and catch it, if you will. It is quite heavy. So all I did was lay it down onto this trolley and then raise the ramp back up a bit. So there you go, and that's that. Right. This is now, as I said before, this is 23rd December, Christmas Eve. So there's, hold on a minute. Don't know where that's gone. Never mind, we'll come back to that. There's just something I want to run through with you before I go and before I leave you to it. So this will probably be my last video before Christmas. So obviously, goes without saying, enjoy yourselves. Merry Christmas to you all. And just on that note, just take a moment when it comes to Christmas. You are probably living somebody else's dream, no matter what that is. No matter what you've got, if you've got a partner, if you've got kids, which I have, you're probably living someone else's dream. And if you're watching this, if you've got, instant access that we quite frankly take for granted, you're blessed. 100% you are blessed. And I know I am, for I know everything that I've got, I know I'm blessed to have it. And it matters to me. I think about it quite regular, and I think everybody else should just take a moment quite regular too, especially over Christmas. And I don't ever really want to talk about, COVID and stuff like on here, because, you know, the channel's called JDM Escape. I started it in lockdown because my idea behind it is it's an escape. It's normality and real life. Leave it out there and just submerge yourself in cars and, you know, good stuff. But I know there's a lot going on this year with COVID and stuff like that, and I've left the issue alone. I've stayed away from it. And I just want to take a moment to say that if anybody who's watching this, if you've lost anybody, that any loved ones or anything like that, honestly, my heart goes out to you. Genuinely, it does. And I can't imagine what you're going through. I really can't. So for anybody else that's been lucky enough, like I have, to have quite a half-decent year, and I've just kept myself going, I've been able to. But I do want to take a moment to think about anybody that hasn't been as lucky. Everybody's situation is different, and you have to be careful with things like that. But if you are, as I say, if you have lost someone this year, if someone's not going to be around for Christmas, or if you just, quite frankly, I know a lot of people are in different tiers and stuff in the UK at the moment, and that's all increasing, and a lot of people can't see friends and family for Christmas who they normally would. So I just want to take a moment to say, I feel for you all. I am lucky. I am happily, I feel really bad even saying it, that I am with who I would normally be with for Christmas. I'm just my wife and my daughter and me for Christmas, always is. And I'm lucky to have that. If you aren't, I'm thinking of you. And on Christmas Day, I'll be thinking of you. So, in the meantime, thank you for watching. And I will see you again probably between Christmas and New Year. And the next video, we will be stripping that whole rear axle down and reassembling it onto the new subframe. And then once all that's back together, obviously I'll get the back side of it under sealed. And then exhaust setup and figure out how the heck I'm going to do that, how I'm going to make the two work. It shouldn't be too hard. I'll figure it out. In the meantime, Merry Christmas. Enjoy yourselves and don't get too drunk. Take care, folks.